Hey, JK here. I want to thank you for sharing part of your day with me. Well, we are fresh off the All-Star Game week that has shortened the number of games. In fantasy worlds, that means either week 14 was extended or week 15 had a few games added. You either have more drops for the week or more starts for the week, depending on how your league works. In any case, hopefully you are aware of those changes and those limits, and you can utilize them to the best of your ability. My last video had me predicting the American League was going to win 7-5. I was wrong. The National League did win 3-2 off of a home run by Elias Diaz, the catcher for the Rockies. He is on one of my fantasy teams and has been so cold over the last few weeks, so it's kind of sad he was able to get the big hit in the All-Star Game, which had no bearing on any stats for anyone. So, I mean, unless you were on FanDuel or, you know, some other betting website. But in any case, this week is big because it's going to allow individuals who are in situations that need to take the next step forward to make a push for the playoffs, or to figure out, look, if you're in a dynasty league, I'm not going to win, I'm not going to make playoffs, so what moves can I make to look forward to next season? And here in the next 2 weeks, the trade deadline is coming up for Major League Baseball teams as well, and you are going to very soon find that there are going to be buyers at the deadline and sellers at the deadline. I'm really hoping my Yankees can still be buyers, or at least in contention and in the running to make the wild card, because they're sure not going to win the division. My goal is to, in my fantasy leagues, make some deals, scour the waiver wire, especially with some of the incoming prospects that have been called up either this week or moving forward, which we will cover a few of those in this episode. But in any case, we're going to start with my Cheese Weasels. This week I am sitting still in 5th place with 110.5 points. Over the last few weeks, I have been able to maintain the position and I have been able to gain points, so that has been a good sign. I've also been able to close the gaps, as I've been talking about, in some of these categories that I was close to but not quite in reach. But now I am within 10 in several different categories, including 7 hits, 2 home runs, 4 RBIs, 2 walks, 10 wins, 7 saves, and 4 holds. I am maintaining my lead in both stolen bases and strikeouts. I am dead last in batting average and on-base plus slugging percentage. I'm mid-tier when it comes to ERA, and I'm on the lower end, so more points, when it comes to whip and blown saves. As far as adds and drops this week, there's only 1 each. I really liked Jake Sawinski being able to get on base with walks and be able to hit the home runs, but he's been cold as of late, and I just can't have that, especially if I'm gaining momentum. So I picked up Anthony Santander. Coming out of the All-Star break, he has been on fire. And now we're going to move to the Kent Murphy Dingers. I'm currently up on my opponent 6-3, but it's still a long week and it doesn't really mean anything because it's only Monday. The games on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday after the All-Star break counted in the Week 15 totals for these Yahoo leagues. So there are 10 days in this current matchup. I took time over the All-Star break to look at the categories that I've lost more on a weekly basis than I've won. Those categories that I've lost more include RBIs, batting average, wins, and strikeouts. So I've been looking over the waiver wire and also trying to get some trade partners so I can improve those numbers for my team. I know that leading up to the playoffs, I may get in, but I have to make sure I have a well-rounded team, or at least know that there are categories I'm for sure going to win no matter what, even if there are some I need to punt. Due to this week being extended, I will not talk about the adds and drops until next week. So Hopefully that'll give you some incentive to tune in and see what is going on with my team and how I'm doing moving forward to my playoff run. Similarly to my Kent Murphy Dingers, my Fantrax team, Funky Junky Joker Monkeys, is also leading 246 points to 204, but again, that can change very quickly because we do have negatives when it comes to this league. I am sitting in a position where I can still make the playoffs if I continue to play well. Over the last few weeks, I've picked up more wins and I've gained some momentum being able to scour the waiver wire, pick up some guys that, like I've said before, aren't going to start because we do have limited starts in this league, but are still going to be able to come in. Some of those players, Matt Brash, Jacob Junis, Nick Pavetta, another good one, Matt Stram. So if you are in a situation where you need players who are not going to count against your starts, but are going to still get those bulk reliever innings, those are guys to definitely target. Speaking of limited numbers of starters, this week being extended has allowed us 21 starters. I've laid my starters out and I'm really hoping I can pull out a win. I am going against the number 2 team in the league this week, so hopefully I'll be able to pull out a surprise win. If you watched the last episode, you will know my ESPN leagues were abysmal. I was losing because I was going against not only the number 1 team in the league in one of them, but the last place team in the other. You might be thinking to yourself, if you've not watched any other videos, if you're going against the last place team, why aren't you doing well? Well, because I completely fall apart against the last place teams. I don't understand why. It's not like I pick up different people. It's not like I say, oh, I can not play my best players. It's not like I forget how to play. I really feel like it's a curse. In multiple leagues, I've played the last place team, and with a chance to gain momentum, gain traction in the standings, but also in the playoff hunt, I've fallen apart. I have lost those weeks. I don't understand why. And this week was no different. My Style Hartman Institute of Technology team, the better of my 2 ESPN leagues, lost 13 categories to 4 categories to 1 category. Not only did that hurt my heart, that hurt my pride, and it dropped me even further back. At one point in time, I was 2 games behind the person in my division. I am now 18 games behind. I am still 4th overall with 110 wins, 100 losses, and 42 ties. I'm not really going to talk about anyone that did well for me because, well, also the last place team, so not many people that can do well, and I can tell you a lot of people that didn't do anything to help me. This week I'm playing the number 1 team not only in the league, but in my division. So if I were to win all of the categories, we would be tied. I doubt I'm going to do that, so the best I can hope for is just to close the gap. And over the next few weeks, continue to ease my way back into it, or at least not fall apart. These ads include James Paxton, Aaron Savali, Joel Pyamps, JP Sears, Matt Manning, JP Crawford, Hunter Renfroe, and Ryan Nelson. The drops include some bigger names, including Dustin May and Ty France. Dustin May is out for the season, and Ty France has just been cold. He hasn't really been producing, and I'm hoping that a replacement in Hunter Renfroe, who has first base eligibility, will be able to pick up the pace for me. Even though Mike Trout's going to be out, he still has Ohtani in that lineup for a little bit of protection and help. Other drops include Ryan Nelson, Aaron Savali, Julio Teheran, Austin Hayes, and Jose Alvarado. The other ESPN league, Russell My Gym Jams, didn't lose as bad as the score was 11 wins to 3 losses to 2 ties. Overall, I'm 8th out of 10 in that league with 81 wins, 108 losses, and 35 ties. I am still only 8 games behind 6th place and am currently playing the 6th place team. This week really is my week to make my comeback in both leagues. The ads this week included Bryce Miller, Aaron Savali, Julio Teheran, Joel Pyamps, Jeimer Candelario, Kenta Maeda, Miles Mikolas, Seth Lugo, Joey Meneses, and my new long reliever, Nick Pavetta. And the drops included Josh Spores, Adbert Alzolay, Chris Davinsky, Drew Smiley, Julio Teheran, Harold Ramirez, Aaron Savali, and Late Night Lamont Wade Jr. That one kind of hurt a little bit, but he's been slumping. As I alluded to earlier, there have been several players, both prospect and big leaguer, called back up here in this last week. Some of the names include Logan Allen of the Indians, or the Guardians, which sounds like a platinum level health insurance plan, has been called back up because of the injury to Shane Bieber, which I know has a lot of fantasy owners up in arms because we're not sure, including me who has him, if he is going to end up going under the knife for Tommy John surgery, which that's not what we want, but we need some answers as to why he's been doing so poorly this year. Some other call-ups include Zach Geloff, which has gotten off to a pretty hot start for a bad team with Athletics. Tyler Soderstrom, also for the Athletics. Endy Rodriguez has been caught up by the Pirates. He's a catcher, and he's going to receive a bulk amount of the starts behind the plate. Just a few weeks ago, they called up Henry Davis, who's also a catcher. Davis does have outfield eligibility, so that's going to help his position not only in the lineup in the major leagues, but also in our fantasy lineups. I do not have any shares of Davis, but I know people do. If you're a Tigers fan, you're definitely happy to see Riley Green back. He was hitting over 300 before he got hurt. He started off his return with 2 multi-hit games, has slowed down a little bit since, and hopefully will continue to do well over the course of the year. My Yankees have called back up Oswald Peraza, and he recently started at third base. He does also have shortstop eligibility. I don't see him overtaking Volpe for the position, but if Volpe needs a day off, he can start at shortstop, while my favorite player, Josh Donaldson, starts at third. Sticking in the AL East, Grayson Rodriguez is going to get another shot in the majors. The Baltimore Orioles called him back up. Christian Encarnacion Strand was finally called up. He does mostly play first base, but also does have third base eligibility in some leagues. They're talking about splitting time with first baseman Joey Votto at DH and also at first. When Ellie needs a day off, I'm sure Strand can also play third, or they can just play Spencer Steer there. The Reds are in a good position where they have a lot of talent and too few places to play them. This will allow them to mix and match, very similar to the Rays, having people play only against lefties or only against righties. It will also allow for pinch hitting, and that DH spot is also valuable when everyone has it and can put anyone there. So I guess if any of those people are available in your league, make sure you pick them up. However, I highly doubt some of the bigger names, especially Strand, is available, so you missed the boat there. Instead of talking about who else to pick up, I want to talk about the shirt I am wearing. A good friend of mine sent me this shirt, and there is a historical reference to it. I am not a Pittsburgh Pirates fan. However, I am a fan of great players who have had an impact not only on their teams, but also just in other people's lives. So this shirt, see it here. If you hear any noise, it's just me and the boys bopping. Dave Parker made that his motto and spread it around, not necessarily as a team motto, but spread it around to the Pirates players back in '76. They started off hot and then slumped a little bit. Ended up picking up this motto in a sense, and the rest is history. But I wanted to make sure that he knew I appreciated it, and that I will proudly wear this shirt as not only a piece of history, but also a piece of something special that him and his family had and or will have moving forward. So thank you so much. That will end week 15. Next week, I will talk about week 16 and how this long 10-day period for the matchups have impacted the Funky Junky Joker Monkeys of my Fantrax League and also my Kent Murphy Dingers of my Yahoo League. Fingers crossed I come out with wins. I'm looking to gain some momentum, and hopefully going into the trade deadline, I'll be able to snag a few people off of other people's teams, but also off the waiver wire, especially when it comes to saves, because now is when contenders will be trading to get starting pitching, but also relieve their bullpens from being overworked over the course of this year. So they're going to be looking to make some trades there, just like I am going to. So Stay tuned. Hopefully we'll come out with wins, and I look forward to you joining me on my road to multiple championships. This has been J Cake, and I want to thank you for sharing part of your day with me.